He's young. He's athletic. He is a weapon in the backfield.
Going to run it here, and the field open in front of him to the 10, 5, touchdown!
This kid was the #1 rated quarterback transfer in the portal.
Chiles from the shotgun. Wide open, it's touchdown, it's Spelling.
So what are they getting in Aidan Chiles?
Runs around the edge. Chiles turns it upfield.
Dual threat of sorts, kind of an athlete.
Chiles keeps. Chiles, a lot of room to run. Touchdown, Oregon State.
Got the live arm. He's able to push the ball downfield.
Chiles, plenty of time. Throwing. He's got a man downfield. It's gold. And he makes the catch.
Aidan Chiles comes in, he's got that chance to be an immediate impact guy to help quickly get things resurrected in East Lansing for Jonathan Smith.
Chiles seeks to throw. Well protected to the end zone. He's got it.
I don't remember the national media hyping up a recruit like this ever before.
Chiles to the outside. Open. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Riley Sharp.
Welcome back to the Spiro Avenue Show. I'm very excited from that intro, honestly. I was already pretty hyped up, but when you have the best producer in the land, Ben Augusta, and he throws something like that together, it really just gets you to the next level. So that's where I'm at. I'm really excited. Aidan Chiles, Michigan State's quarterback, right now and for the foreseeable future, man. Welcome to the Spiro Avenue Show and to Spartan Nation in general.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. Happy to be here.
Good to have you, man. It's been a whirlwind for you. I know you've only been in town, like a week or something, right?
2 weeks. I got in January 4th.
You're pretty busy. I mean, you were at Breslin. I mean, you're kind of making the rounds.
Yeah.
The snow is a little bit much for you, though, it seemed like.
Yeah. Being from California, it's different. But
rough.
It is what it is. I mean, I'm not really tripping about it no more. I'm going to be all right.
So, I got a journalism degree from the best journalism school in the world, Michigan State myself, and we're taught about objectivity and handling things in a measured way. I'm not really going to do that now, and because I've already disqualified myself as it comes to you. I'm probably your biggest fan in the fan base already, and to demonstrate that, Ben embarrassed me a little bit, put up my tweet about Charles Rogers and Aidan Chiles and the corollary here. Aidan Chiles is the most excited I've been about an incoming MSU player since Charles Rogers. Strictly in terms of my personal excitement, interest, and intrigue, there's really no one close. Before I knew you were coming, I said that, obviously. But I think my take on that is pretty common. That's been something that I've heard a lot. People are saying, best recruit we've ever had and most excited I've ever been. What's your take on sort of the buzz? Like, do you feel that at all? Do you understand like the excitement that you've brought in committing to Michigan State?
I feel it for sure. Like, I know that it's there. My mom knows we be out here. People notice who we are. They see who we are. I think last night when I was at Breslin, that's when I really understood like how big it really was. I don't know if everybody knew who I was, but everybody was chanting because somebody started it. But I feel it. It's kind of different because, I wasn't the most recruited guy out of high school, but it's cool. I'm not really tripping about it, but yeah, that's about it.
I mean, when you see the transfer portal player power rankings, I mean, did you see like there was a list that had you #1 overall, another list had you the second best player in the entire portal, regardless of position? Like, did that sort of cross your desk at any point? Were you aware of that?
I was aware, of course. Like, you're gonna see it. It's gonna happen. But I didn't really pay it no mind. I knew where I was gonna go the whole time. At the end of the day, so it didn't really bother me at all. But it was nice to be in that position. Of course, like if anybody else saw it, they'd be happy to be in that position as well. But it was just another thing, just another thing that happens.
So, I mean, the Twitterverse had that little dalliance with the Lincoln Riley USC rumor. What happened there?
So, I was in contact with USC, still just trying to see if this was the right fit for me at the end of the day. But I want to play for Coach Smith, so it was probably about 3 days of contact. We just talked, and I just wanted to hear what they had to say, and I listened, but, I knew where I was going to go, so it didn't really matter at the end of the day.
Was there like 1% of you that said, look, Jalen Hurts was at the Heisman ceremony, Caleb Williams won the Heisman, Baker Mayfield won the Heisman, like everything this guy, Kyler Murray, every quarterback this guy touches is either at the ceremony or wins it. Did that give you any pause? I mean, USC seemed like a pretty big draw, I would think.
Not really. I like going. I don't like being in places where they already have a name. You know, like Michigan State has a name, of course, but I don't like being in places where I come in and now I have to upkeep something. I like building something, so that's my thing. So I was happy with coming to Michigan State, and USC just seemed too fancy for me.
A little too fancy for you? And you had the established relationships with Jonathan Smith, and we'll definitely talk about him in a little bit. I had Ben sort of grab some of the general reactions from fans and media when you had made the decision to come to Michigan State. Wanted to give you a little perspective if you haven't seen some of this stuff in the audience out there. Ben, let's hear what people were saying when the news broke that Aidan Chiles was joining Spartan Nation.
So what are they getting in Aidan Chiles? 6'3", 200-pound, dual threat of sorts, kind of an athlete. Got the live arm. He's able to push the ball downfield. He has everything you need from a skill set perspective to throw the football. Then also, like I said, a pretty good athlete.
Aidan Chiles comes in and he's got that chance to be an immediate impact guy to help quickly get things resurrected in East Lansing for Jonathan Smith.
This kid, per 24/7 Sports, was the #1 rated quarterback transfer in the portal.
So, I mean, you have a social media presence. You're not like super into it. You're not tweeting 6 times a day like, some people. But you're on there. You saw some of the stuff that was out there. Do you I guess get moved by that at all? Like you're sitting on Twitter and you see like we're tweeting photoshops of you and Zeke and that whole experience. Like, is that sort of surreal for you? Like, how do you compare that to what you were used to maybe in Corvallis even?
It's different. It's really different. Knowing like Corvallis was dope. I love the fan base over there. I love everybody over there. It's less compared to what it is here. And they're just as crazy, but there's just as many people. Like if you compare the amounts of people that are supporting you in both situations, it's so much more here. And it's so much, and it seems like everybody's just, you see how much more invested they are here. But I don't know. It's crazy. Like all the photoshops and everything you see on Twitter. Like sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I used to look my name up just to see what somebody said today, and it'd be some new stuff. And it's just crazy what people have to say and post. So it's different.
You came to a school that's thrilled to have you and that cares so much about its teams and really supports its players. The Michigan State family's really on a different level, and I'm sure everybody says that, but you hear that again and again with the basketball program and the football program, and Spartans really just like other Spartans and root for other Spartans. I think even harder than other schools root for members of their institution. You talked about your Breslin experience. Like, weren't you in a normal seat and you got like summoned down? I thought I saw something. Am I making that up? How did you get
this past one?
Last night? Yeah.
Yeah. So we got regular tickets, but I had texted the IZone, like people who were like leading the IZone, and they text me actually, and they were like, we saved some seats for you, blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, bet. So we go and we're like, hey, they told us we could sit down here. I'm just trying to get down there. They was like, all right, I'll trust you. So we walked down there and we got our seats, and that's just how it happened. We never sat anywhere else. My mom sat away from me though, because she don't like sitting next to me.
She doesn't like sitting next to you?
Nah, she thinks I get too much attention.
Oh, yeah, too much. So. You're QB1 at a major Big Ten program, man. I mean, yeah, that's going to be rough for Nicole out there.
It's all good. Nah, she sat I think she sat behind, on the opposite side of the benches in the first section area. So she was fine. She was fine where she sat. Next to the cross-country team, actually. She was cool, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you mentioned, I don't know if these people know who I am. Like the IZone people down there, you'll learn pretty soon. I mean, they have to camp out, and it's always, I don't know what it is. It's always freezing and wet, and they're in this field, and they have to sleep out there all night. It's it's a cool thing, but it's usually not pleasant to get those tickets. So anybody doing that to get basketball tickets knows who Aidan Chiles is. They definitely knew who you were, and we grabbed a little clip of this. Now this is courtesy of David Harns who posted this, and with his blessing, we're sharing it. A short clip of Aidan Chiles getting serenaded with his own name by the IZone last night at the basketball game. Let's run that, Ben. You looked kind of like a kid that like they're singing "Happy Birthday" to him and he didn't know what to do. Was that who you? What was that like for you?
It was very awkward. Like, I'm not mad at it, of course. Like, everybody wants to have their name called out, but it was so different. Like, I'm not used to the attention I'm getting right now, and it's gonna take, probably not gonna get used to it, but it's gonna take a long time to actually like understand that you're gonna keep getting this attention. So it was weird, but if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, I would say, hopefully they tamp it down, but that's a fruitless exercise. If anything, it's going to ramp up as you actually play. I mean, that's the excitement before you've hit the field. Like I said, Michigan State people just love other Michigan State people. The whole thing was cool in the experience, and it was cool seeing those pictures because our show's normally Thursday night, and that's why we bumped it a day because you're like, man, I got to go to that basketball game. There's no way I'm going to make a stink about that. It's such a cool environment there, and you definitely had like a not in Kansas anymore moment, I think, with that reception. I want to talk about Oregon State, that experience a little bit, like when you were there. When I heard that you might be entering the portal, you hadn't even entered yet, and obviously Jonathan Smith had already been hired at Michigan State. I was doing a lot of work on you, research on you, trying to learn about this kid, and obviously had been familiar with your work, but didn't do a deep dive yet. I was fascinated that you actually played the third drive in these games as a 17-year-old. You were one of the youngest freshmen in the whole country. Mm-hmm. What was that like? Was your head spinning? I mean, that's a young, not only a true freshman, but a young true freshman.
I was only 17 for the first 2 games.
Counts, man. That counts.
Yeah, it's all good. I truly played in the UC Davis game, like the second game of the season. So that game, like the San Jose game, I had 1 drive, first game of the season, and I was kind of nervous, like, being young, coming straight out of high school, and it was nerve-wracking. And then UC Davis game, I got in my groove a little bit. It was easier, but it was also against an FCS team, so I wasn't the happiest, but it was cool. Like, I was happy for sure. But when I started getting that third drive, it was the Utah game, and that was like a welcome to college moment. It was pretty bad. Got out there, I was shaking, scared, couldn't call the play. I was nervous.
Oh, that bad?
Yeah, it was bad. If you watch the first few plays of it, I like fumbled the first snap. I threw a good ball, but then I got sacked twice, and it just didn't look good. But as I started like getting more reps, the third drive it just came easier because I knew what I was expecting. So it was just a great teaching moment, watching DJ play those first 2 drives, and then I go in and learn from what he did wrong and what he did right. And if every time he scored, I was like, oh, okay, I got to score. Like, that's just what it was. But no, I got to score regardless. But like when DJ scored, I was like, okay, it's time. I got to go. Because I can't, my whole thing was just to keep the lead. We got to score. So, but it was fun. And I'm thankful for the opportunity, of course, because they trusted me. As young as I was, they trusted me to go in third drive and lead the team to go down and score. So it was a fun experience.
When your head's spinning in that Utah game a little bit, you come back to the sideline. You said you fumbled the snap. And did Jonathan Smith say anything to you, or any of the coaches just say like, hey buddy, calm down? How did they handle that?
No, I really talked to Coach Boyer after my drive, and he was just like, it's a learning experience. It's gonna happen. Luckily we still won the game, so I couldn't like be mad.
Yeah.
But it was just a learning experience. But after that third drive, I talked to Coach Smith like every game, and he was just like, on my third drive, you're going to go hunt. And that's just our thing. So every third drive I went to go hunt, and I think I scored majority of the time. I don't know how many times I scored on my drive, but just going to hunt and just having that mentality of hunting every time you go out there, it really changed something. I don't know. He didn't say it in the Utah game, though, but every other game he did, so it was cool.
How did you earn the trust of the coaching staff so young? Even really high-end prospects that end up great players, especially at your position, don't get there that fast. How did you do that?
That's honestly a great question. Simply because,
you're not even sure?
Simply because I felt like I was prepared physically, not like in looks, like because I didn't weigh that much. I wasn't a big body. Like, I could take hits, but I'm not supposed to. But I could do what other quarterbacks couldn't. I can get away from people. I can throw the ball. I can do what I have to do to get the ball down the field. But me being so young, and just thinking, just being out of high school and thinking I could just get away with certain things, like the mental part was hard for me, simply because like film, class, draining, like everything was just draining to me, and I'm just still in that high school mentality, like, okay, I don't want to do this today, but it took time to get over that. But for them to trust me, I kind of caught me by surprise, because I was like, okay, like I'm gonna go in and like I'm gonna do what I have to do to try and play, but I'm knowing that DJ is gonna have this job, but I just want to do what I have to do to show them that I can be that guy next year. So that's what I tried to do every week I came in, and it paid off, man, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously working in with DJ at the time, and young true freshman, so the reps are relatively limited. But what I saw from watching your highlights and just clips of you from over the season, and even a couple of the announcers commented on the same thing, like your discipline in keeping eyes downfield is really insane for your age. I mean, especially someone as athletic as you, sort of the inclination is to tuck and run, and that's something a lot of mobile quarterbacks, and like even Drew Stanton at Michigan State years ago was a little bit too run happy, and he had to dial back. You seemed really polished with the kind of like going through the reads, working through progressions, and then taking off. Is that something that Jonathan Smith preaches to you? Is that just innate? How do you get there? You're like 3 years ahead of the curve on that for most players.
It really happened at Downey High School. So my junior year, I broke my arm running too much. So senior year, I was more like pass heavy. But I had a lot of little tweaks and injuries my senior year in high school. So all my runs were usually just runs out of like that was designed for me to run. So I never really looked to run as much as I did, because my ankles was tweaked every week. My wrist, I was still scared. I was like a little nervous for my wrist. So I'm looking to throw the ball. I'm looking to get my guys the ball before I take off and do anything. But I feel like I am a pass first quarterback, and that's what I'm here to do. Like, I'm not trying to show off that I'm a running back or anything. So, yeah.
I mean, just because the buzz on you and some of the highlights were, these great runs. And then, when I'm doing the deep dive, I'm like, man, he's not run first at all. Like, the perception from not having actually watched you much was like, this really kind of raw, young, athletic guy we got to mold. I'm like, I don't know, man, you look pretty good back there to me. I mean, you look just older the way you play. I just think it's fascinating. You're such an exception to the rule, especially given the talent that you have. I mean, if I were in your situation, I'd probably be taking off every time and trying to show off the wheels, but I'm slow, so I wouldn't have a choice. But I think it's a testament to your football IQ, just that you're years ahead in your development in that way.
A lot of it is maturing faster, especially how young I was coming in, and then early enrolling, being in college for almost a year before the season starts, it really helps you. Like, it shows you what you need to do and what you need to work on. And I learned what I had to change in the spring, and that was good for me, because if I didn't come in the spring, I don't think I would be in the position I'm in right now. So it was a good decision to come early, learn from DJ, learn from Coach Smith, learn from Lindgren, learn from Bengal Branson as well. Like, they were all there to help me. So it was good. It was a good learning experience to be able to do all those things. And I think it really helped me mature faster than I should have. So, yeah. So
the week leading up to the Oregon game, it's your now former in-state rival. There was, I think it was 3 or 4 days before, the whispers about the Jonathan Smith courtship in East Lansing comes out. I don't know if you're aware. I mean, Ben, you can put it up there. They were trolling you guys a little bit on the scoreboard, playing the Michigan State game like an hour before kickoff at the Oregon State game. Were you aware of that? Like, that they were doing that?
I heard about this after the game. I didn't know they did that before the game at all.
Okay, so I mean, but at that point, like, the public knew, not that it was a done deal, but it seemed to be progressing in that way. And obviously, the scoreboard operator at Oregon knew something was going on. When was the first time you heard my coach might be leaving?
I think it was about 2 weeks before the Oregon game. I went in to talk to Coach Smith about everything, and I just wanted to hear, like, are you leaving or not? And we talked about it, and it wasn't like anything serious. So then a week before the Oregon game. He doesn't tell us he's leaving. He just tells us to focus on what we have to focus on now. And that's what we tried to do, but a lot of people didn't believe in everything that was going on. And then the day after the game, we had a team meeting, and he announced that he's leaving. But that was it. So, yeah, we didn't know too much.
Were players resentful about that, or what was the attitude in the room with his departure?
A lot of people didn't like it. Seniors couldn't really do anything about it, like they were leaving. So, but they felt for us, like they felt like how they would have felt if they were in our shoes, you know. But it was a lot of mixed emotions. A lot of people unsure of what they were going to do in the future. A lot of people also very sure in what they're going to do in the future. And it was something so unexpected. It was expected, like, later in the season, but like when everybody's practicing before this, everything, like, it was just something that you just didn't think would happen because, you know, alma mater, and he's been there 6 years. But it happens, and it's a business at the end of the day, and you can't do nothing about it. So it is what it is.
I mean, it's always the inclination is to say, you know, the greedy scumbag coach, the spurned lover's always mad. But I've always come back to who's turning down a significant raise, a significant increase in just opportunities and resources available to them. I don't think it's fair. And these coaches, like when he had the meeting with you, I'm sure he really did, you know, I'm sure he was aware that they were looking at him, but I'm sure he really didn't think, oh, I'm definitely leaving or I'm likely to leave. And, you know, these things evolve and you're not going to tell these guys, yeah, I'm probably out of here, like until it's done. So the coach really is in a bad spot, right?
Yeah. If anything, my guess is really just so much going down with the Pac-12. First of all, like everything was swept from under us. We the only team in the Pac-2 now. We was the only team in the Pac-2, and I don't know how the pay was. I really didn't pay attention to all that, but I know it's pretty good over here. But yeah, I think everything that went down with the Pac-12, it made the decision a little easier for everyone, but it was probably still hard for everybody as well. Like it was for sure hard for Coach Smith to take this job. At the same time, with everything going on, I think he just had to do what's best for everybody else, and I think he tried to make sure that everybody else got what they needed and made sure everybody else was straight before he made any decisions.
Did you have any idea he was leaving before the? I mean, I know you had the discussion, but did he tell you that he was leaving before he told everyone else?
No.
When was the first conversation you had where he's like, hey, you know, East Lansing's pretty nice. Like, I'd love you to join us. Like, what was that like?
It was after he told the team. I walked in and I did talk to him about, like, I wanted to play for you. Like, that's what it was. I wanted to play for you.
What was the pitch? I mean, it was kind of his second time recruiting you, I guess, now to a new school. Like, what did he sell you on joining him for? What was the appeal? Other than, I mean, I know you like playing for him, but did he say like, hey, you know, we're going to go have a great time up there. We're going to win some Big Ten championships. Like, what was the pitch to you?
Yeah, it was the Big Ten, like just the bigger stage, you know, playing in, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Sorry, man.
Not the first. Usually people get up and go to the bathroom halfway through the show. A little cough isn't a big deal.
It's all good. Playing in front of, 75,000, 80,000 compared to 30,000. And then just the love and support you get out here and how invested everyone is. Just, I think he didn't really have to sell me too much. It was really, I wanted to play for him. And then the fans and the football came with it. That's just how it was. So,
do you think it was hard on him being, you know, an alum of that school and, you know, having been a successful quarterback for that program? Do you think that weighed on him a little more heavily than even a normal situation?
Yeah, for sure. It had to, because you can't just leave your alma mater like that. And it's a hard decision to make, you know, because you went to school here. Coached here for 6 years, you built a program, and now you have to make a decision. And he made his decision, and he chose Michigan State, so it is what it is.
he makes that decision. He makes the announcement to you guys, and you have a conversation with him shortly thereafter. And you had told him, "I want to play for you." Why the attachment to him, especially you're getting Lincoln Riley calling you, USC's chasing you. Why Jonathan Smith? Why did you seem so eager to follow him wherever he went?
Well, so again, going back to me being young, when I got up there, first of all, the reason I went to Oregon State, I could have went to a bigger school for sure, but the reason I went was because they were the most honest coaching staff with me, and they told me like exactly how I wanted to hear everything. This is what we're gonna do. This is how it's gonna be, and that's just what it is. So that was one reason why both me and my family liked the place. Secondly, later, so after spring ball, after spring ball, I was doing pretty good. I started feeling myself a little bit, to be honest with you. And then fall camp came, and it was rough. So when I went in, I would go into fall camp, and I would go in and talk to Coach Smith, and I'd be like, "Hey, I'm not feeling myself right now. Like, I'm not feeling how I feel I should be performing." And he really just talked me through everything, and he showed me that he's a genuine guy, and he really cares for you as a person and not just a player. And that really just stuck with me, and I feel like we've had a stronger bond since then. And I wanted to keep playing for him because that's my guy. So, yeah.
What is the Jonathan Smith culture? I mean, what kind of culture is he bringing over with him from Corvallis?
Well, exactly what he said, low ego, high output. I mean, he's not a man of many words. He don't say too much. I don't know how much he likes being on camera for real, or like in front of a microphone, but at practice you don't hear him until the end, and then on game day you barely hear him too, and like halftime and the end of the game. But he just wants us to work as hard as we possibly can for him and just go play football for him, man. He's a leader. That's what he is. He's a leader, but he don't talk too much, but you can see it. He's a leader.
Yeah, that low ego, high output. Ben, can you play that? We actually grabbed that. I think it's such a great little moment in his introductory press conference.
What will be some catchphrases or mantras that your players will hear you say so much that they'll hear it in their head?
Yeah. I think from the start, we're going to, low ego, high output.
I mean, there it is. Low ego, high output, which, look, I'm not going to dance on a man's like career grave, but there is a contrast from Mel Tucker to Jonathan Smith. The Mel Tucker era, for better or for worse, was a lot of Lamborghinis on the field and a lot of glitz. And for all the negative things that happened, they did have an 11-win season. There have only been a handful of those in the program's history. So not to completely dismiss him, but the Michigan State sort of bedrock. It's tough defense. Don't say much, don't talk much, and just kind of hit hard. And I think it's a more cultural alignment there with Smith and Tucker. It just seems more in line with the Michigan State ethos preceding him. I don't know what the, how this is going to go because nobody knows until it happens. But it seems like it's going to be a good fit at Michigan State. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, it does. I think it's going to be a great fit. Simply because we have all the players, we have the coaches, we have everything we need, we have the schemes. We just got to put it together now. Everybody has to buy in, and when we all buy in, I think this would be a great thing.
I think the challenge for you guys in the new conference, not just you, though anybody participating in the new conference is going to be interesting. It's just such a loaded conference now. Do you think that Jonathan Smith is going to be capable of in this new environment? That's the question: is can Michigan State compete for a Big Ten championship? Do you think he can do that at Michigan State?
I think Coach Smith can compete anywhere, and that's just me being his guy. Knowing that what he did at Oregon State is. I'm not going to say the Pac-12 is a weak conference because it's not, but Big Ten's going to be tougher. But I think he can build this place up just how he did it over there, so it's going to be fine.
Does he talk about goals like that tangibly? Does he say win the conference, make the playoff? Is that something he explicitly lays out for his team?
It's not. It's implied, of course, but he's not going to come straight out and say that. But he will be like, we will like soon do these things. But his biggest thing is we're going to win a bunch of games. And that's one of the things he says a lot to me is win a bunch of games. And that's his goal like every year. And that's what I'm planning to do with him. So let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, you've only been here, you said 2 weeks. Have you met any of your new teammates yet? Like,
Yeah.
I know you've met, Nick Marsh, and you guys have a connection there building. What's that been like, just meeting the new guys?
So we have 6 a.m. lift already, 6 a.m. Lift and conditioning. And it's been good. It's a lot of competing, and I'm liking it. I love it. Dudes are they're there to work, and it looks like everybody should buy in real soon, and it's going to be a real fun season coming up. So,
do people bug you a little bit since you have the background with Jonathan Smith, your now new teammates? Do they say like, "Hey, what's he like?" Are you getting peppered with questions on that?
Some of them, yeah, and I understand. It's like they can ask whatever they have to ask. They want to know. So I just want to make sure that they're comfortable enough to be comfortable with me and comfortable with the coaching staff, so that we can do this thing and we don't have no bumps in the road. So.
Do you feel like the presumption is, and you might play it off, the presumption is your quarterback one coming in right away on day one, having played as not just a true freshman, but a young true freshman, you have a veteran in DJ there established, it's easier to take a back seat. Do you feel like an onus of traditionally quarterbacks, the starting quarterback is the leader, is usually a captain? Is that something on your radar that, I might have to be a little more vocal now than I was in the past?
It's there. First of all, I have to come to this point of comfort with the team to be that leader that I want to be. But it's there for sure. I want to be the leader. I want to be the team's leader, of course. Captain, all that stuff, it doesn't really matter to me. I just want to know that the team has faith in me and they can trust me to do what I have to do when I get on the field. But the only thing that I really am focused on is knowing everybody, coming to a point of comfort where we can speak to each other and hold accountability for each other, or hold each other accountable, my bad. And just I can be able to lead and they can lead as well. I want to see everybody else. I want to see everybody be leaders. The whole team needs to just build off each other, and we just all need to have discipline and do what we have to do. So,
the nature of that position is so fascinating because, like, even looking at the NFL level, there's a couple different ways to do it. I mean, you have like the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. I mean, there's been several, like grabbing a guy's face mask on the sideline and kind of bark, not like constantly, but they'll get in guys' grills. CJ Stroud, who just had one of the best rookie seasons ever, very even keel, just never rattled, doesn't ever seem mad, almost like you're like wondering if he's okay sometimes, but he's fantastic. We've seen kind of both ways. Are you more of a, once evolving as the QB1, are you more of like the hey guys, get your shit together? Or are you more of the CJ Stroud kind of flatline, cool customer type?
I've never really had to do any of that, and I don't think I'm the guy to do that, So it's more nothing. Not a lot of stuff bothers me. If you don't want to be here, then you don't want to be here, and then you just have to understand that person doesn't want to be there. But I feel like I am more the CJ Stroud type guy. I'm mellow, and you can get me fired up for sure, but it's not a lot that can really do that, and it takes a lot to really do that, and yeah.
Yeah, I could see like a lot of Stroud in you too, even stylistically, where like right at the end of his career at Ohio State, they're like, I don't know, this guy's not that mobile. Like people think he's mobile and he's not that mobile, but no, he was actually really disciplined and wouldn't take off, sort of willy-nilly. And then he had that game against Georgia where he had a couple long runs, and when the chips were down and he had to make a play, he made a play. You check some of the CJ Stroud boxes, like you kind of look like him playing out there, like you're kind of smooth, kind of even keel. Do you have is there a comp for you? Like I know everyone's their own player, but is there a guy you look to and say like, I want to emulate him?
I wouldn't say like, I don't want to copy anybody's game simply because I want to get to where they're going and I'm probably in the position they're in. But I don't know if I work with Sam Fisher down in California. And he trains a guy, Jalen Daniels. I like watching him play because I feel like I play a lot like him. He's a bigger body. He's from the same area as me. And Kansas quarterback. And he's real good. And I just like watching him play. Hopefully he has a healthy season this year. I want to see him ball. But that's who I like to watch most of the time. So, yeah.
Are you happy Brian Lindgren, your offensive coordinator, came along for the ride to East Lansing?
I am. I'm excited to see what he does with his offense. You know, it's going to be different simply because you have different weapons, different team, and I'm excited. I'm just excited to see what he can do at this level of football because we all coming in together in the same boat. So I'm excited.
Like for the Michigan State uninitiated, which is, you know, most people weren't watching a ton of Oregon State at the time. Like, what's the Brian Lindgren offense? Is it like RPO heavy? Is it more pro style? Like, can you break it down sort of in basic terms?
Our offense is pro style. We're gonna go under center. We're gonna do play actions. We're gonna throw the ball. We're gonna air it out. We're gonna run the ball. Wide zone. We're gonna do RPOs if we have to. We're in a multiple offense, and we're gonna do things that teams are not supposed to be able to stop, and that's just what it is. And we're supposed to have an answer for everything, and it should look very smooth after we all get it down, and that's what it's gonna look like.
I love the you know, so you look at like Jonathan Smith's experience at Oregon State, both as a player and as a coach, obviously, being the smaller program in the state, you know, against Oregon. And there's definitely an interesting, you know, connection there now coming across country for both of you now at this point. And it's interesting because you said you want to be building something. You don't want to go to some established thing. I can't think of a better example than a program that's had a couple down years and the rival down the road just won the national championship. I mean, it's like the ultimate gap to try to close. Was that a little bit, you know, I mean, that was post your signing with Michigan State. Did you have any awareness of like, oh shit, my rival just won a national title? Does that like put a little more on you to close that gap now?
Yeah. My biggest thing is, first of all, you want to win games. We have to win games to get to where we want to be. But at the end of the day, I hate rivals. I just hate rivals. You know, I hated Oregon. I hate Michigan now, and it's gonna be fun. And everything's just gonna be real fun. And we play Oregon again too, so I'm excited for that one too. But yeah, I hate rivals, man.
How do you see closing that gap where you guys, you know, 4-8 versus 15-0 national champions? How do you close that while you're there?
I don't know how to answer your question.
Is it daunting for you?
What that mean? Like,
is it overwhelming where you're just like, oh man, this is going to be a battle, or do you look at it as like an opportunity? Like how do you react emotionally to seeing like you're starting kind of from a lower rung and your rival down the road is just at the top of college football? Is it intimidating? I guess I would say.
At the end of the day, I was taught that everybody else put their pads on the same way you put your pads on. So I don't see anybody bigger than anybody. I mean, we can go out, we can play wherever we want to play, and no matter what team I'm on, I'm always feel like we're gonna be able to compete with them at any level. So, they could have won a natty. They could have went 0-15, 0-12. It is what it is. We can go out and play football. So, whoever we step on that field with this upcoming year, it's gonna be fun, and it probably will be a battle. It probably won't. It is what it is. It's football, and it's gonna happen. So we're gonna see how things play out.
Yeah, they're humming right now, but yeah, we did see a pretty strong turnaround at your former school in Corvallis with your coach. I mean, this is kind of exactly what he did. Oregon was at or near the top of college football, and Oregon State, I think, was 1-11 in the year prior, and it got closed pretty quickly. So I'll get you out of here pretty soon. I got to ask you, though, about the Zeke thing. I still don't know. You finally met Zeke the Wonder Dog tonight. Yeah. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
I still don't know how you were even aware of Zeke the Wonder Dog. He's kind of like an institution internally with Michigan State. How was Zeke on your radar before you even visited?
I saw some YouTube videos about Zeke. I don't know how I came up on him, but I saw some YouTube videos about Zeke, and I was like, oh, that's dope. I got to meet this dog, man. I like dogs. I have a dog. So that's really what it was. I found Zeke somewhere. I don't know. I really don't know how I found him, but found Zeke, and I was like, oh, yeah, I need to meet this dog. So, yeah.
And you like talk about a way of endearing yourself to the fan base. Like they were in on you. You hadn't even touched down in Michigan yet. They were all in on the second you bring in Zeke on your Twitter platform. The Zeke thing was interesting. That we kind of threw that together on the fly, and I read the Dave Harn's piece, about why they couldn't do it before because you were a recruit. And
I never read that. Why'd they say?
Well, it's technically. I mean, I'll probably screw up the language, but it's technically a or could be perceived as an NCAA violation because it's a recruitment. It's like some kind of improper, like they can't have, I can't remember the wording. It's something because he's an extension of Michigan State. He's like a contracted, not employee, but like his dad is, is a contracted employee at Michigan State and like does work for them for money. Even if it's $2, it doesn't matter. So because of their university vendor relationship, again, I'm kind of butchering the wording, but that's effectively what it was. But because you're no longer a recruit, you're a signee, you're already here, part of the school. Now it's okay. So the Zeke appearance, we actually had it. This was like Michigan State approved. Like we didn't have to get a letter. I told Zeke's dad, I'm like, you're good. Like we're good now that he's signed. But yeah, we went through the proper channels anyway. But that was cool. What was it like walking around the corner and Zeke was there? I'm sure you didn't see that coming.
Nah, I didn't expect it at all. But it was nice, man. I mean, I've never met Zeke before. That's cool. I want to throw a frisbee to him now. I want to see how that plays out. But it was cool, man. I really don't know what to say. It was cool.
It was awesome. Yeah, your mom was like, wait, like 10 minutes into the thing was like, wait, that's the real Zeke? I was like, so yeah, that's the real Zeke. We didn't put like the little decoration on him just to fool you. Yeah, that was the real deal. Zeke's an awesome dog, man. Mm-hmm. It's great to have you. I promised I'd get you out faster than I normally get guests out of here because I know you got a lot going on and it's a late night and a long drive for you. But I just got to say, it's really cool that you're part of this program and people are really excited for you. You're put up a little bit on a pedestal maybe, and that's probably somewhat my fault in part, but people are really excited to have you, man. It's great to have you as part of Spartan Nation.
I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone, actually. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. I'd love to have you back, maybe ahead of the season when you win the one-man race for the quarterback position. We all know it's going to be you. It's going to be a fun season of growth, I think, for Michigan State and starting to build back up. It's going to be, I think, one of the more interesting transition years. And you're my human SSRI, like the fact that I get to watch a guy that's as skilled as you are at that position and developing the program. I think it's going to be, even during harder times and harder games, maybe at the very beginning, it's going to be just cool to watch Aidan Chiles ball out on Saturdays. So
it'll be fun, man. It'll be fun.
That was great to have you. Your mom's awesome, by the way. I'm going to go hang out with her. I think she might be the best hang at the whole party. So I appreciate you, man. Aidan Chiles, the sort of presumptive quarterback one for Michigan State. Really excited to have him as part of this program, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching a guy like him. Players that, even though he is pass first, and it's sort of a misconception about him that he's not, the ability to take off and the excitement that he can bring, it's going to be a real game changer, I think, in East Lansing. And great guy, man. You guys are going to love this guy. He's so polite. He's great. He called everybody, yes, sir, no, sir. And my wife's like, oh, my God, he's so nice. I'm like, yeah, he's a good guy. Anyway, Ben Augusta, you're the man. Eric Williamson, home on the couch in his boxers. Love you too, man. Spiro Avenue Show. This was Aidan Chiles. Real pleasure, man. We'll see you soon.
For sure. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good one.
Go green.
Go white.